Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens, Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 825. Hopefully, you guys have had a great Tuesday. I've got a fun guest for us this evening. I'm looking forward to meeting Miss Val Alwayzsweet. That's new. I kind of remember you as Val Pothead, which.
Oh, well, okay. So I used to have a Discord server, and that's the name of that was Potheads. And but then I no longer have that pod. I lost that account. That account got tossed. So I kind of lost my Discord. So basically, yeah, just went back to my normal name.
Right
Very
on, right
simple
on.
and easy. Well, that and then also, yeah, Potheads, that was a Discord server about just sharing cannabis information, like how to grow it, primarily sustainably. And yeah, we had like research papers and grow, but that's all gone now.
Oh,
It happens.
so I guess before let's we'll get back to that in just a sec. But we gotta do this right. I forgot to say tell them how you're doing tonight and where they can find you. You kind of hinted to that already, but is it Val always sweet on I'm taking you go you.
It happens. We're human. Yeah, I'm Val. I'm always sweet. You can find me on Instagram as always sweet, or and primarily though, you're gonna find me in the Discord servers. Like I like to hang out over at the Irie Genetics. Let's see. Let me open up my Discord and I'll see which ones I like to hang out at. Lately, I've been hanging out over at Faceless Genetics. They're pretty cool over there. NW47. Love that crew. That's like with Lemon Hoko, and you got TARDIS, Titan, a lot of good people. And then of course, we have Irie Genetics with Roster Jeff. We have people like Petro, Grass Tester, Paul. We have a lot of cool people that all have different styles of growing. So we talk about that on the regular basis. And so I think I've been able to learn a lot from them. Like we
Great
grow
people
as a
to learn
team.
from. That's for sure. I'm proud to say I think about 80% of that list has been on the show, so proud to say
I
that as well.
don't know. We got some good people. I know. Oh, let's see. Hot Rod. Oh, he's such a good kid. He was just on Dude Grow show last week, I think. He's a good kid. I'm really fortunate. Not everyone gets to be around so many good people learning and talking to them every day. And if you have a grow question, it's just a simple, you just pop in and be like, hey, what do you think?
It is a great time in cannabis, that's for sure. I mean, back when I first started to grow, you didn't talk about that shit. Didn't talk about it, and you didn't, friends, family. Sure didn't weren't on the internet too much bragging about it. Maybe a little bit in some, you know, chat rooms, some forums, but that's what I was kind of wanting to get back to right there, and it reminded me of you talking about the Discord there. Sometimes we lose that shit. And back in the older days, websites went down, forums went down, a lot of great information was lost. And I don't know how many times I've had to start over, hence Eagle Garden 1. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's
So,
bad. Well, I know there were a lot of good forums out there before. We have like what Overgrow, and that was one of the ones that went down. And originally, that's where when I started growing cannabis, that's where I started going to the forums. And that was all great and dandy, but I prefer more of like a hands-on, like live approach. But then you're limited by the people that you're hanging out with their experience.
True that.
Yeah.
True that. So, did you bring something to kind of puff on as we talk this evening?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what I have. Um, let's see. I'm looking for my coops. Here we go. We also do tobacco here. So, but I get to reuse the bags. And they're really good for hydrating, I found, for keeping the hydration. We'll do some of the coops today.
Nice. I like that
That's
you have
the
a
coops,
selection.
the one back cross. What are you smoking on?
I'm not quite sure, to be quite honest with you. Some fine cannabis I was gifted from a friend there.
Ooh, let's see. I bet Chad's probably smoking on something good too. Oh, and I love my chat friends too.
There is a lot of great people that I've met through this journey myself. Some of the best people I've known in my life I've actually met through the forums and stuff like that. Not at jobs, not at school, not just walking around, but in these here chat rooms. Some of the best people I've actually known. So cheers to that.
It's like sometimes it's like the random people that you don't realize. Actually, like so how I actually met my husband was actually online playing a video game. And we would just be in the chat rooms and we'd just like be chatting to each other each and every day. And eventually, bam, 10 years later, flew all the way over from England. Yeah, this idiot came all the way over from England.
Wow.
He's
That's
a good
pretty
guy, though.
fucking awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, all
So
from a video game.
does that does that tie in later, or you know where I'm going with this? When
No, he
was your
doesn't. He
first
doesn't even
experience?
consume. He doesn't
No,
consume.
that's
No.
fair.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it's
seem
not
like
his
he
jam.
shuns on you for it. So that's awesome that he's still yeah, you guys are
Yeah,
cool with it. So, yeah.
that's not his jam. And I started smoking. Well, I smoked it when I was younger, and then I stopped for a job because I really did enjoy those jobs. Though half the time I was working at like an engineering type company for gas and electric distribution. So if you wanted to say, for example, you're in Colorado, you wanted to call up Excel Energy and say, I want to get a grow room over here. Can you get me some electric? You'd have to call them, and then we would do all the drafting and we would get put together that work and figure that out. That's what I used to do. But apparently, you can't do that if you're a pothead because you have federal contracts.
Hmm. Hopefully, we'll get by that someday soon. Someday very soon.
Yeah, I think
So
we will.
we got to rewind this. You kind of hinted a little bit there to the beginning, but when was the first time that you used or seen cannabis? When did cannabis come into your life?
I used to be a big pothead when I was between, I'm going to say 17 and 21, 22. That was more of like self-medicating, I believe.
Right on. Was that the
Yeah.
first time around 17?
Outside the what?
Was that the first time? The very first time was like 17, or did it just pick up around then?
Well, that's like when, well, I know I did it very, very first, probably in eighth grade. No. Yeah, maybe eighth grade. but that was just dabbling. I had a few friends. And that was also, it was like, how do you even get it when you're that age? And especially being female, I think it was easier if you were a guy to get it. I really, really do.
But do you remember what you were smoking on? I mean, I hate to, try to date us in any kind of way, but it didn't always kind of have names. Sometimes it came in just bricks.
Probably oregano. Oregano, probably. Well, you were stupid back then. You didn't know what you were looking for. They didn't have names, and um, you're like, you're disappointed if you got seeds and sticks. But no, back then, I didn't really have any names for it. We were like, oh, we got the hydro. We got that. We got the dro.
Right. So, what was the initial draw to you? You becoming a pothead. Your words, not mine. I don't think that's a bad thing, but either. I call myself a pothead all the time, so I'm not like
I Oh, when I
saying.
went to the Michigan Gem City thing, I went as my costume was a pothead. So I wore a floral skirt, and then I actually got like what those 5 gallon. I put that on my head. I was a pothead.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
actually nice and cozy.
But what was again? I guess what was the draw
Oh, what
back then
drew?
for? Yeah, what
Yes.
drew you to
At what
cannabis?
age? I think it was just more of like, ooh, we can do this. And I enjoyed it. And it was like, oh. But then the second time, what drew me back, like after, because at this point I had been stopped working. I had gotten sick. I was actually like, I was having like some PTSD type stuff, some severe panic attacks. And I was out in public and I was with my girlfriend, and she smoked cannabis for her MS and for her PTSD. And I was out of my meds. And then I just said, hey, yeah, let me take a hit. And then as soon as it took all my panic attack away within 5 seconds, and I never went back afterwards. That's pretty much. Cheers.
Cheers. So that's pretty awesome. So have would you categorize yourself as like using it medicinally since, or do you kind of consider yourself to be a recreational user?
Oh, I smoke it all day, every day now. This is like, if I haven't smoked it, like, I don't usually have them as an edible, but I did have a nice edible today because you know how it is for Turkey Day. So I made like nice big brownie.
How was it?
And I don't know. What would you class yourself? What type of a pothead?
Mm, well, that's a toughie because
Sorry,
I'm
yeah. Like I
I'm a
said, I'm
pothead
usually
at
used hiding in the
heart.
background. I'll ask you questions too.
That's fair. That's fair. Basically, I think I'm a pothead at heart. I smoke because I love it, but as we're getting older, 100%. The needs have changed from it. It just changes throughout the day. My mood. In the morning, it's 100%. Loosening up the body so I can even get to the day. And as the day goes on, it may be still something to help, relieve the pain. As the day goes on, maybe the pain eases up. It may be a recreational thing. I may be, you know what I mean? So why I use uh changes throughout the day, but I do consider myself
I
fine.
hear you. And I think that's why it's when we have such a low plant count, it's stupid because we should be able to have the option of growing a variety of different weeds that suit our ailments. And it's nice having a little medicine cabinet of different things. Or like, what if you don't feel like smoking that day? You should be able to have the option to change up your flavors.
Agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%. So what have been some of your favorite strains? What's been some of the gems you've uncovered in your travels?
Well, I'm a broke ass bitch, so I don't really go to the dispensary that often. And when I say often, I mean when my girlfriend, she's gone to the dispensary and she picked up something, and I'll try a sample of whatever she's got. So, but regarding my stuff, now keep in mind, I've never purchased a seed. I've gotten is has been like for free. So it's all like hand me down type stuff. I think the happiest one that I've smoked is my Lebanese. That one makes me the happiest, I think. Because I think it's just different and she's special. She's a little spicy, but she tastes like at the beginning, before she cured out, she tastes a little bit like soap. But then after she cured out a little bit more, she smelled more of like between a rose or lavender. And it's just like sandalwood. It's like it's very, very floral, perfumey. I enjoy that one very much so. Then lately, I've also been smoking on the Coots. That one gives you a good head high. It doesn't have a whole lot of flavor profile. It's kind of bland, if I'd have to say. But it's kind of like the stuff like the old heads would have, I think. And there's nothing wrong with the blend thing. That actually makes it easier to smoke on a regular basis, I think. But yeah. What type of stuff do you like to smoke?
Ooh, I like the gassy stuff. Um, I don't mind some fruits, but I consider a lot of the fruitier stuff to be more of a daytime weed. Uh, gas. I mean, in a perfect world, I would be smoking probably something along the skunky to pine, in that
Yeah.
realm. I really enjoy the pine. It's the pine and the fuel are like neck and neck in the same aspects that, well, you can do things. You can do things. I'm an old school kind of pothead where I'm sitting down for multiple joints. It's rare. It's rare you would sit down with me and probably smoke a joint. Usually we're smoking a few joints. And usually, but if I do smoke, I'm not afraid to smoke in multiples by myself either. So sometimes, I smoke that gas and then I can still smoke one and get some shit done, but two, I'm done. The pines for me are the same kind of thing, but um, the one I get incredibly creative, great, my breathing, it's opened up my chest. I'm ready to do some stuff. But if I double up on that pine now, that's the like the giggly, have fun type of buzz that I really, really enjoy. I mean, isn't that why we all started smoking weed anyway? I mean, we enjoyed that
I think
laugh
so.
and so yeah, and we don't see that a lot anymore. You hear anxiety and counts like, but you don't hear my fucking face hurt. I laugh for fucking 4 hours. You know what I mean? And that's some of the gems I remember from my childhood and early on, man. Just literally My gut hurt, face hurt from just laughing so hard, and from my all every experience I can associate with that is with the pine. So yeah, in a perfect world, that'd be pine and gas, I guess.
I think it's like that's the whole reason why you should be smoking. Do you think when you're smoking the pine and you get like that giddy feeling, do you think it's because like your body feels all those cannabinoids and just it's just happier and like it's getting the medicine that it needs, and so like your dopamine, it's just everything just is releasing the way it's meant to be.
Yeah, that's a toughie because I really believe that our taste in cannabis or cultivars, strains, however you prefer to say it, um, varies on us. It's a very plant-based medicine or herbal medicine. And herbal medicine, is like a mindfully walking through the woods or whatever, and an herb or something kind of speaking with you, and you kind of mindfully making a deal with it. You know what I mean? That it would heal you. And I believe us and cannabis have that same relationship. So we know what works best for us. You know what I mean? I don't think it's necessarily us calling out, yeah, I want this or whatever. It's the same urge that you have when I gotta have something sweet. I gotta have something salty. Your body just craves it, and I think that's the same. You know, urges we follow when we reach for cannabis. Our body already has an association, with our experience, and we go, "Ooh, gotta have that pine." You know what I mean? My
Mhm.
body is craving that pine today. So I think, at some point, once we get that menu, if you will, our body kind of calls for what it knows.
Yeah. Well, I think that like it'd be helpful if we started having better testing available. Like me, even as a home grower, it'd be nice to be able to go test and figure out like what's the medicine that's actually in the stuff that's making it so it's just so helpful. And if we had more people able to test those different terpenoids, that'd be cool. But like that's an idealist in me wanting to have all that. Like the orange labs, or yeah, that stuff's for one of those machines though, they're crazy expensive. I know we have all the dab equipment, but we need to have more equipment for testing, I think. I can't wait till we get to that next level. I think that's where it's really, really needed. That better like packaging labeling.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But, and part of that is all of that is education. you know Teaching people what terpenoids, kind of do, what cannabinoids they're looking for to help take them in the proper directions. I really don't see that with recreational cannabis becoming more and more the majority state by state. I see dumb people.
Well, that's why they're pushing. They have such lower sales for flour and stuff, but everyone's pushing the concentrates now. It's
then
all about the concentrates.
yeah, that's a whole funny subject too. I think.
Oh, did I touch something? Like,
Mhm.
oh,
Yeah,
well,
you
how often?
did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I
No,
don't, I think that's a whole nother process that it does. I'm cheap. I don't really think that it needs to be done all that often. It's nice as a treat, but your tolerance level is going to go through the roof. Then all you're doing is dabbing. I
oh,
like the
I
flower.
nothing wrong with that. There's, and see, in my problems now with the extract, really, at all. at all because I love a great hash. You know, I always have nice worm in the middle of a joint will take it so much further, and you know, just in high and the length of time in burning. Mm, But I think as time has progressed and extracts have come more and more on the market, I'm not so sure about the ingestion method itself, the up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I'm not so sure that's actually good for, our brains in a lot of ways. I think it's a could be causing anxiety in a lot of smokers. And then, like you've kind of said, the entry point now for most
Hmm.
people is extract. So where do you go from, maximum consumption? It's hard. It's most people just burn out and stop. This is too strong. Not okay. Now I'm gonna try some flour where I should have started or whatever. But I think the extract market in general was initially pushed by commercial commercial growing, California. We first seen it early on with the color of the hash, and I think that came initially from people trying to harvest early or cut corners.
About the
So
numbers.
yeah. I mean, think about it. If they pushed us all into extracts, now they no longer have to pay for a drying space, curing time, all that good stuff, trimmers. They just eliminate all that, or harvest early, throw in the freezer, and squeeze it. Make hash out of it. So that's my I think it's more for money reasons that extracts have been pushed to the forefront. They're cutting corners, and when the for me, it's still, even though I consider myself a pothead, it's still a medicine, and I think the medicine comes from the plant and the flower. And I think, once the commercial money comes in, cuts all the corners and pushes the extracts, we're losing we're losing the medical side of things. So
Sorry.
that's my beef with the extracts. That's all. They're fun. They're fun to smoke. I'm not I'm not knocking it. They're great to smoke once in a while.
Well, no, it makes a lot of sense. And if you think about it, if they're able to push out that, it also helps with their shelf life then too. Because if they have all the flour, then they have to push it out a lot quicker. Yeah. And the pucks take a lot less space then too.
Right on. So we got to back up. This is about Val. We're coming to
Yeah,
we're,
but
we're
I like to share the space. That is about Val.
true.
And it's been a while. The guy is eagle too.
So, yeah,
Yeah, we know the guy, the guys love you.
mm, I love
You're
them.
like,
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
this
yeah.
community. That's for sure too. But so what? You did give it up for the job, and so I guess how long did the job last? How big? How long was the break?
I think like officially hmm, about maybe hold on, wait. You're making me math. That was not part of the deal. We're gonna say about maybe 6 years, 10 years, something like that. I mean, I was just out of the scene for a bit.
Right on. Yeah. So then you kind of tried it again, and seen that it helped with the anxiety a little bit, and kind of kept going with it. So where did it kind of go from there? I mean, at what point are we talking dispensary days now?
Oh no, like as soon as I knew it was medicine, I decided, where am I going to grow it? It was all about like, it wasn't even because out where I live, I just look like that little schoolgirl. And it was harder for me to find a good connect. And I was not about to go to the dispensary and pay all those prices because in Illinois, yeah, because like I said, I was a flower girl. You're looking at, even with a medical card, you're looking at like $60 for an eighth.
Damn.
Yeah, you can get shake if you want that, or you can possibly get like smalls and stuff like that, but you're not really, the quality at the time was definitely not up to par. And my cheap ass decided, well, we're going to grow. And before I remember when I was younger, I always wanted to grow marijuana. So I always was trying to pop seeds, and my mom would always catch them. So I never really grew anything much more than this. And so instead of, I wasn't able to grow cannabis. So my mom did allow me to grow tomatoes. So I put that effort and I grew really good tomatoes. And we did that on the side of the house. And I put all that effort learning. And from then, when I went to the jump to cannabis, growing that, I took a lot of that knowledge. When I tried to go to the grow stores, though, all I saw were like bottles. I couldn't find like the dried amendments. So that pissed me off. Luckily, things have changed, though. Dry amendments are coming back. I appreciate that. But then, actually, after, right, so who actually really then taught me my next level of like the actual Coots mix is what I actually use right now, if I'd actually have to say, for the style, which is actually technically the Cornell mix. And that's what he taught us to say. He said it's the Cornell mix, but we all love Coots, so that's why we call it the Coots mix. But yeah, but when you say the Coots mix, I think that more refers to, you do have your base mix, but you're able to play around and fuck around and just see what you're able to do. Don't over apply, less is more, and shop local. That is Coots mix to me.
Great advice for sure. For
Mm-hmm.
sure. So walk us through that first grow a little bit. What size pots? What was the first light? What was the first strain?
Okay, so I got the Mars Hydrolite, and the first pots, I already had them. Oh, and they were probably about like 7 gallon. But then I also, when I came to making more soil, I do tell you, I did go to Menards in their fabric shelves, or their over in their shelving area. They have those fabric shelf boxes. Those are excellent, cheap fabric pots. And if you just don't use the bottom layer, yeah, that's what I actually used for some of my pots. The genetics, that was a harder one to find. I reached out to 5 Pack Genetics. I saw that I was on Instagram at the time, and I saw he was doing Free Seeds February. And I told him what I needed. So I told him I was for a medical patient, and he sent me seeds for free. And that's how I've never paid a cent for seeds. And I've participated in giveaways, and then I've just made friends and we've just shared. Yeah, it's
So,
about.
do you prefer to grow from seed?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I've done clones. Like I had my buddy Mark, he sent me a clone of his Rainbow Crush and a clone of his Alien Rock Candy Durban Poison. Those turn out really nice. But I do notice though that when you're planting them, you have to just plant them a little bit deeper because I do tend to veg them out a little bit longer. And if you don't do that, they just require staking. That's something that I don't they don't usually tell you about. Stake those clones.
I stake as needed, to be honest with you. I like, especially in flower, I like to let them plants stress a little bit. I think it adds a little bit to the trichome and terpene production a little bit myself. But I, I've,
True.
I am known to grow some big ladies myself. Plant training, from early on, as you're saying, very important from the seedling there. I like to go from a root riot germination to a solo cup. I'm not afraid to up pot. So in the solo cup, I'll put just enough to cover the bottom there. Put the root riot cube in and bear it right up to her neck. And then as she kind of comes up, like back feed, back feed, till I get her to the top of the cup. And by the time like, she gets to the top of the cup, she's got some girth to her at that point, if not ready to, already start topping, from an inch off the rim of the cup. And so, yeah, I agree with you. You can varying down a little bit can be very useful in your plant training, especially if height is a factor later on. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. I had that issue. Oh no. Well, I was just more of like reminiscing on a current plant that I had. I tried I just noticed that she just was just slightly leaning just a little bit over, just tilting. And because I don't usually use like scrogging or anything like that, I have like I didn't actually get it. I don't have any tents except for my seedling room. That's like one of those cheap Menards greenhouses. One of like the 2x4, not a 2x4, but like a 2x3 or something, or 1x3. I don't know. But downstairs so I have that for my veg space or my seedling space. And then downstairs, I have in an open area in the basement, I have a 5 foot pool, and I just hang my lights over it and put my pots in there. I have my fabric pots with the sip trays or a drip tray. And then from there, I have my flower room, and that's just a basement bathroom underneath the stairs. That's just a little bit bigger than usual. And that's just been paneled out and with like the panda film. That's about like 6x8 space, if I had to say. Plus, then I also had utilize a shower.
You want to share your germination method? Everybody's got a different method, and you're the guest, and I just like literally just blurted mine out. Cut you off,
Oh,
and I should have
bro.
asked yours first. I should have at least
Well,
asked yours
we're
first.
having fun. Don't worry about it. Like, Because, all right, brace yourself though. My germination method is just hope it grows. Just hope, 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 hope. Oh, well, I'll tell you what not to do. Don't have your seedling tray next to the door in the winter. You want to definitely get it away from the door. And don't let your furnace go out. And yeah, you definitely want to have heat. Heat is definitely a big thing. I don't know. I'm not really good at, I do prefer to do direct sow, but I don't always have the best germination rates. So I think that was also another reason why I decided to start making my own seeds. So I could stop feeling like an asshole wasting seeds.
That's unfair. That's an unfair statement. I mean, how I
Once they get going, I can do once they get going, I can do a pretty good job of taking care of the plant.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah,
See, but and I wouldn't give up on seeds in general. Have you tried different in germination methods?
yes, I have, and I've sucked at those just as much. I don't really have a green thumb all the time. It's just, I don't know. I think what I need to do is I get a temperature controller for my seedling mat tray.
See,
Seed mat.
I've never been a fan of that damn mat. Never, 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 never been a fan of the mat. Never,
I know
never,
it's a
never,
hit
never.
and miss sometimes with that thing.
Yeah, I may put them on top of a refrigerator. My best place I've always my favorite place is to just set them on top of the light. So like maybe on top of my T5. At some point, I've set them up on top of one of my hoods that didn't get that hot, but not in direct light, but kind of in a warm area, but not like I've horror stories with the mats. Not just myself, but things drying out or getting too hot, and I'm sure they have a purpose. And I was just listening to somebody else the other day going, "Oh, heat's the key. Heat's the key." And I'm like,
It's just
"Yeah."
enough heat though. That's the thing. And it's just it's annoying because you've popped seeds and you made sure you popped just enough, but then now you have to go ahead and make sure that you pop seeds again. So it ruins your timing. That's what it that's what it's about.
You honest engine. I'll give you that. And why do all right? We share. I say that because you're like we plant just enough, and a lot of times like that just enough. All right, I got a slot for two, but I'm gonna drop four because two of them are gonna make male anyway. So then sometimes you get stuck and you end up with four females. You're like, what am I to do now? Kill them off? I can't do that. That ain't right.
Well, you know what? It's not a plant until it's 6 inches. It's not a plant until it's 6 inches. So fuck
So
it. I think we should
uh,
all write them and just have an amendment. I don't know. Fuck it, legalize it all anyways.
so I something you've said a couple of times that I believe we share a little bit of is well, your words, not mine, because I call myself a cheap fucker and you call yourself a cheap bitch. Why do we say
Yeah,
it?
you
Why
can
do we
say it.
say
You
it
can say it.
like? Why do we say it like it's a bad thing, though? I always get that from Angel. Why you say it like it's a bad thing? It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good
But
thing. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know why I say it like that.
but yet, you know what? I my plants are bougie. Like the soil, like everything. Like they eat well. They are like I remember if you think about all the things that we've added to our soil over the years, you know that those plants are living their best lives.
Yeah, that's the way they should. So after the first grow, how long did the first grow stay the first grow? I mean, how long before you kind of started?
It
It's
took
not
me a
that long,
while.
right? Yeah.
It took me a while to figure out the good rhythm for it, to how actually have like the perpetual grow. What amped it up was because I'm a female, I was sponsored for an autoflower competition, Cannabis.
Nice.
This was a while ago. Sorry, trying to remember. Yeah, it was a while ago. So I was sponsored for that, and that made me definitely get better lights. And it for me, it was always about, I mean, that's when I also started getting more worms. I started like a little worm farm. And I was pretty much all in from right the moment that I decided. It just took me a while to figure out exactly how I was going to get to where I was going to get it to mass scale. And when I say mass scale, I mean filling pots. Because it's about the soil volume. I'm not the girl that knows about all the different strains. I'm the girl that knows about the soil. Yeah, maybe not all the technical terms, but I know how to build a good soil.
I appreciate the fact that initially when I asked, from it being a medicine, you initially took it to the grow. Like, if I can skip the bullshit, I want to grow my own shit. Uh, and so, and at that point, I'm not gonna take. So, did cultivating cannabis change your way you felt about you know the cannabis, the medicine in general?
Well, it made me, well, my habit was more, I like to do the deep dive and study everything and learn as much as I can about the plant. I learned a lot more. I always was open minded about the plant. I just didn't know its medicinal value. It was just more of like a fun party thing. And just my need for it did definitely change my perspective for it.
For me, it is it definitely changes. It changes the way you feel about it. It is even a recreational. I mean, to me, that it was 100% the tipping point from a recreational use to a medical use, medicinal use. That time, and we all talk about it in the chats and everything else. That time we spend in our grow rooms and shit like that. How good it is for anxiety, and it's life's crazy, and that's always been my time. Again, we smoke weed to kind of cool down from the day, but that only take it so far. That time in the garden that you spend, looking over the plants and stuff like that is, another next level anxiety
Uh,
relief.
oh, well, or sometimes anxiety inducing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
can be.
And I think that was why, like, that was one of my reasons why I did the organics. Or, well, not necessarily. When I say organics, I mean, well, technically, yeah, but I'm not afraid to use a synthetic type thing too. Like, I'll use a synthetic silica on occasion, but I am pretty much water only type person. I don't know. There's so many benefits of growing. Believe it or not, I actually have like one of my one of our older TVs in the grow room downstairs too, just because it is a larger space. And so I remember I set up a camping chair and was watching TV and stuff like that down there, hanging out with the plants. But then realizing I'm probably fucking up my eyes by being around this bright light so long. So I've not done that in a while. It'd be nice to hang out with the girls again one day, though.
Oh, I practically lived in the grow rooms for quite some time. And the whole, yeah, don't grow blind. Yeah, there's probably a lot to that, but I haven't necessarily seen any ill effects myself after being in there for so long. But
Well, you're not going to. Like, it's like, unless, well, how often do you get your eyes tested?
well,
And you would,
that's a
well,
bad
your eyes,
question. This was a terrible year for it. My eyes went to shit this last year.
oh, yeah.
Literally, it went, half blind, all that shit. I see the eye doctor quite a bit. Too
What?
much.
I would actually ask your eye doctor what he recommends against like with lights and stuff like that and talk to him like your use of LEDs and stuff like that. And he would probably actually tell you. What he even say?
That would be a fun conversation with that guy right there because I believe, because I wear this kind of shit around and I'm pretty open
You
with
know
my
they can
cannabis
smell it.
stuff. Oh
You know
yeah.
they can smell it. Yeah. Like
Well,
we're nose blind to it completely.
I literally have, well, I have on this arm the Delta 9 symbol right here, and then on this side I actually have the CBD molecule runs up the back arm there, and then just under the knee there, it has the Dank logo, and it says Weed Nerd
That is
under
so
my leg.
cool.
So it's yeah. To go in there during the summer months, it's yeah. He's looked at the tattoos and kind of went, and I believe I've mentioned cannabis once or twice, but
Well,
I've
yeah,
never.
because we can't help it.
But
I think
growing, I guess, is a whole another subject too. I guess, but
it's a privilege and you're
it is.
happy
It's
and you want to
great.
be able to share it. And it's like, oh, and I think like when we're able to talk about it and make it a little bit less scary for other people, less taboo. I mean, how else are we supposed to normalize it?
So how would you suggest getting a friend or somebody you know to grow?
Stop sharing.
I did not see that answer coming.
Make it your own.
Joel's line up, they'll grow some shit.
Oh. Well, realistically, it depends on their situation. You know what I mean? Like, are they in a two-bedroom room apartment with a kid and like no bed space? Like, some of those apartments can be pretty tiny.
Yeah, true that.
Now,
True that.
now if I don't know, and then well, to be able to grow outside if you have that as an option, hell yeah, go for it. I personally can't do it. Not because I haven't tried. I have. And what I learned is, well, first off, we live back end to a cornfield. And so we get all their aerial spray when they go through. And then we have so many trees. That's pretty much at the back end of our lot is where we would want to put the plants anyways. Because you're going to grow trees. You're not going to grow twigs.
Mm.
And so they would get sprayed there. And then, so I put it at the back end of the lot anyways. And when they sprayed, I was observant and I just hosed them down. But they all got seeded, probably because we have hemp fields nearby.
Mm.
So I'm not going to do that again because it's just a waste of time just to grow seeds.
You just said you was getting ready to grow seeds.
Well, mystery seeds. Mystery seeds. Yeah, sure. Well,
I just happened to catch that. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I am a seed maker. I'm not a breeder. I'm a seed maker. Yes.
I'm
Yes.
just playing, pal. I'm just playing. I just
Oh,
happened
well,
as you.
you gotta have fun.
So, let's see here. Where we go from? Oh, do you have any? What is your plant? How do you go through your veg? Do you do a bunch of training? Do you just let them go straight up au natural? Do you do multiple toppings? Do you bend and twist? I mean, how do you grade veggie girls out?
Yeah. So what I do is I put them in the seedling room in solo cups or that about size for about like, let's see, let me look at my library thing. I have an Excel spreadsheet that helps me actually keep myself so much more organized. I just go by how it looks though, then too. I try to get it transplanted as soon as I can, but I don't want it to, because it's in that nice warm space in the seedling room. I want to keep it there as long as I can. So it's finding that happy medium. So that's about maybe a month. She'll be in the seedling room, maybe less. If I'm guessing, I don't know. And then I transplant her downstairs and I don't top. I just have a nice fan. And the pots that I transplant them into range from 5 gallons to 10 gallons. And it all really depends on what I'm planning to do with them. Like, so for example, if I'm planning to do a monocrop and I'm just figuring out what I'm doing, I'll put those in like burying pots, depending, or I'll put them all in one pot. Um, I typically try to keep it one plant per pot though. I don't, I have like a couple plants that are over in the veg space, and then I just rotate them out as I take out plants from the flower room. So it's kind of sort of like I do it in reverse though.
I call that the whack-a-mole system.
Yeah, thank you for explaining it.
One goes in, one goes out. One goes in, one goes out.
Oh yeah. And I think that's nice having like, because I have like the main flower room and then I have that little mini side room or the shower room. that makes it easier so I can kind of sort of I have that wiggle room of plant height with the light. I think that makes it a lot easier.
Very good. So, what's been your favorite so far?
I think my Lebanese or the Coots. But I've also my most proud ones was probably my Kem Jong Il or my very first one. My very first one was the Cascade Safari by Five Pack Genetics. And then the Kem Jong Il, that was by the Sanctuary Seed Company. She was really pretty.
Do you have a favorite breeder, or you just let cannabis be cannabis? I mean, back in my day, I guess. And I feel like old when I just said that. I just want you to know I felt super old when I said that. You
But
would find a breeder and just kind of like be narrow minded with it. You know what I mean? You just kind of ran with your like little breeder clique kind of thing. But nowadays, there's so much good stuff out there. It's kind of hard to limit yourself to a breeder, or you know what I mean. There's just so much good stuff happening. So, do you find yourself leaning towards a certain breeder, or do you
I
shop
need to
around a
try
little
more. I need to try more. And
bit?
realistically, I know that there are so many great breeders out there and they have great testing programs too. It's really hard to find a good tester. And I think that if you're able to do a good job, you always got to sign up for that. And that's a good way for people to try out new seeds. Um, but regarding do I have a favorite breeder? No, I do not. It's just, like I said, I've never bought a seed. I've almost a few times. So, but like, I almost wanted to buy another pack of the Lebanese just because I like that so much. And then the other one was the Acapulco Gold. I was going to get that because my dad, he was always saying that that was the one that he wanted to grow. He wanted me to grow because that was the one that he just remembered. And so, but I think I might have that one covered. I almost did buy it this Black Friday, but my buddy, I think he says that he's going to send me some. So, but if not, I just know where to contact the breeder. So it's perfect. We got plans.
It's awesome that you're helping him live out that dream, and so cheers to that.
Well, he's no longer here anymore.
Oh,
So
I'm
it's more of
sorry
a
to hear.
passion project.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
awesome for that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Because what I want to do is, well, first I want like this is more me being idealistic, but from what I've heard, the Acapulco Gold is very good. And it's got like the floral notes and the pine notes and everything that I'm looking for. And then I was thinking marrying that with the Lebanese, where it has like the rose and the lavender and the florals and the sandalwood. And I was thinking that would be a good daddy's girl type mix. That's what I want to do next.
Right on.
That and then also make more seeds of the Acapulco Gold. I think that's
So,
important to be able to do that.
do you not do clones? Not cut your own clones, or just
No,
prefer
because then
that
I have to have
figure?
more space. if you
Good
have more
point.
space for it, then it's like, oh, yeah, no, I do more seeds.
It's funny that again that how resilient us growers can be at like finding space. Because again, my cheap ass, I have multi-level tents. I I have put a card table in a tent and a light under that, and like it doubled up my like veg space and shit like that. But it's crazy how much space or how much we can maximize our space when we grow. Like every little nook, we're like, oh, okay, I can put something there.
Well, and
It's
that's like the nice part of having like a little veg area. What I wish though, like, I wish we had better access to like pollen libraries. That would just be that I think that would be fun. That would take a little bit. I don't know. I think that's what I want to do for. I want to start having like a pollen library book. Oh, your voice, you're muted. You muted.
Sorry about that. What do you
Oh, it's
mean when
good.
you talk about like a pollen library? I mean, I can understand like a genetics base, but what do you mean when you talk about like a pollen library? Just a male, library of, donors there?
Well, yeah. So, like, if you're so instead of having a clone of something, if you're
Hmm.
like, you know what, this one is really, really nice. I'm going to hit it with this pollen because I think it would be complementary. And, or I'm going to save some of this pollen because I think it might be good to add to the mix later on. And then it's like your way to make your own like little seed collection. But it's also you can't start right into that doing that. I firmly believe that you have to be able to have that eye to be able to spot genetics that are worthy of being seeded. It's like if you think that it's worth being cloned, but you're like, do I want to keep her around? Then it's is she worthy of getting seeded? And it's like taking those same principles and you'll just do your thing. And that's just, and then you're able to send seeds to your buddies then too.
Man, that's another great thing that has come about with the widening of the cannabis usage in the communities. It has been the spreading of seeds. I've never seen genetics pass so freely, and I don't think, they people buy seeds. Oddly enough, the seeds I buy are like always the last ones I grow. There's always a freebie or some shit that entices me and then I grow the fucking freebie every time. It's like, okay. You know what I mean? I bought that, but I wanted it because I was, I wanted to have it to the collection, but now it's in the collection. But I've never heard of this, and this kind of sounds good. And that's, I'm very much on the record as because I've spent a large amount of my grow history in the testing realm, testing seeds for a lot of breeders. And I always liked it because I was ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? I always believed it was an
Yeah.
honor to run that. And so I've always been kind of blessed with getting some free seeds myself. But when it come to buying seeds, They can be expensive, but these days, man, everybody's so excited about what they're working on and stuff like that, and these shows, and there's a lot of ways to get genetics these days, and it's hard to actually fucking keep up. I mean, realistically, with as much seeds that's float around, it's hard to keep up with everything that's out there these days. I literally have cases. I mean, people look at my collection and go, "You'll never grow that in a lifetime," and I'm like, "Shut your face."
Yeah, like you have such a large collection. How do you choose what's next? Do you just like reach in and be like, that sounds good? Or no, no. Or do you have to go like what is like Marie Kumbo or whatever, the girl on Netflix, like the joy of cleaning? Do you have to go through your seed pack and be like, does this seed pack bring me joy?
Kind of
Or
like
like,
that, to be honest with you. And I'm more guiltier about popping, not popping the older ones because they're the sentimental ties, to be honest with you. I literally, as I'm open that case up and I start pulling shit out, it's like greeting cards or, songs or just pictures. I pick it up and I'm like, oh, I remember that event. You know what I mean?
hey,
Oh my god, I don't want to waste that moment. I kind of put it up, and I'm like, I don't want to pop that yet. You know what I mean? I don't want to fuck that moment up. I don't want to open that pack or something. You know what I mean? There's something silly, nostalgic reason that keeps me from popping them older packs, and then I start thinking about them. I'm like, shit.
you can keep the pack. You
I
can
do
keep
keep
the
the
pack.
packs. Do keep the packs. Then most cases, 9 times out of 10, I will keep a couple of the seeds out of 10 pack. I usually will pop 8, and I'll usually keep like two minimum. I
Yeah.
keep two minimum with the thought that if they're regular seeds, I'm gonna get hopefully a female, 50-50 germ,
Yeah.
maybe hopefully one female. These days now, and again, it's funny how we've looked at seeds and males and all that. Always the game man. Oh no, fuck seeds. Fuck, I ain't making no seeds. And then the male, get that out of there. Now it's like, no, I got a second chance. I could make more seeds of that. You know what I mean? I took two, and I can make many now. But before I would have just been happy to have the female. And I still teeter on the seeds thing because yeah, I did go through my little phase. I prefer a nice easy trim, and when I chop my weed up, I just like to roll joints. I
Yeah.
don't miss I don't miss the days of
Yeah, you're not
flinging
wrong.
seeds. And so there, when we did the DOA project, I started doing my mail selection and light experiments, running 24 hours or keeping males under 24 hours, which isn't necessarily an easy thing. Uh, Ended up with seeds, you know. There was the intentional breeding project, but then there was, the instance of the male that out of the three males that I chose, the one that triggered easily, from I had shut the light off for just an hour or so in that 24-hour veg, and he threw. He started to flower, and I didn't really catch it. And the next thing I know, now he's already throwing pollen
Oh
next
no.
to the 110. Yeah. And now I've got seeds I didn't, necessarily
Got good
want to make.
airflow.
Yeah. So once that process started, Ah, shit. By the time that project was done and over with, I had 100% had enough chucking seeds. So I may be done with that for a little bit. I got enough seeds, but it is good to have that option these days. I mean, if not a male, at least, the sprays, you know. There are options to keep that strain or phenotype that works best for us, because I think that's super important as we talk about a little bit about popping seeds there. That is something very important because we talked about this is a medicine, and I think as we look over them plants as anything else, the phenotype selection was what works. It's not that we're not like what's going to work best for everybody else. You know what I mean? We're searching for stuff that appeals to us, and it becomes right off the bat that you know medicine that we're making that
Oh
deal with.
yeah. You go ahead and you get like you're gonna have medicine that's good for you. And then also like when you're breeding them inside your tent, you're gonna also having like isn't there something where you're the biology it's gonna like the second generation is gonna be better suited for your plants than too for your grow tent in your environment.
At some point, I think that's epigenetics, but I think that's just maturity, and you're right. You're absolutely 2000% right. Um,
Mhm.
I would never make my calls or test results on that first round because I knew that the second round offer would something else would come out to me, and you know that's when I'd make my test reports out because yeah, and second and third rounds do kind of mature out, and that's what the final project is. Final product is, excuse me. There is a little bit of maturity time there, so yeah, don't give up on that first round or make your decision on that first round. So how long well, how's that work for you then? Because, you don't necessarily clone. So are you just like regrowing, out of that pack when you find something you like?
Let's see. So like currently you make sure that you have good stock. So like if you like you've planned like your protect you planned like which days or like which crops that you're going to end up being seeded. So like I planned my last crop was seeded and this crop is partially seeded. So I know that I'm going to have at least bud and it's just like that like if you've seen something special just like say for example the Gary Payton BRK that I have right now or Gary Payton Blueberry Rainbow Crush. She's like I'm not sure what this mutation is, but in her like in the between the fingers, she's got a bud forming pretty much on all of the major fan leaves, a
Nice.
lot of the major fan leaves. And then just like her structure overall is doing really well. So I hit her with some Caribbean pollen, or well, it's 75%. And then it's also unicorn poops, slurricane, Velveeta breath, and French cookies. I think it's good to have like a basic baseline breeders pollen in your library. So something that's basically something that's doesn't have like a high flavor profile, but has a high THC content, something that's more sweet and creamy.
Where are you sourcing your pollen from? Are you pulling males yourself?
Yeah, I pulled the mail myself.
Right on.
He was a really good guy. Or, yeah. And that was from my friend Mystic. He gave me his Rainbow Bright seeds, and I found the good mail. And
Another
then,
past guest. I have a pack of the Rainbow Bright as well, in
oh, cool.
in the vault, in the one of the vaults anyway. I have a pack of the Rainbow Bright.
Oh, yeah. So I got some of that pollen if you want some.
Right on. Right on.
Like I said, I'm all about, like, I think it's like we need to start sharing our pollen. I think that would be a way for us to really advance things. People,
Right.
they can have their own personal touch on things.
I think it's super important myself to kind of keep a male. You know, I'm still one of them sticklers about because actually more like gene preservation, proper gene preservation, I guess. Because yes, we can kind of make seeds, for our own purposes, but I think to kind of properly keep the strain that, like, all right, let's say for the breeder to keep producing stock that is representation of the initial genetics, uh the mother and father kind of need to stay the same. You know what I mean? You need to have that consistent perennial stock to
I agree.
keep
I agree
yeah.
with trying to have the initial, like creating the F1.
It's easy. Well, and I kind of say that because you talked about judging that female to see if she's worthy of pollination, but the same thing goes with the pollen, and it's so much harder to see if the pollen necessarily is worthy. You know what I mean? It's not as obvious because female, you're smoking it, and you're like, oh yeah, I love the high of this. Bud structure was great. You know what I mean? It's easy to identify the breeding traits on the female side, but
With a
the
male,
male
though,
side of the thing, it seems like it's harder. It takes multi smacks of different strains to go. Okay, I see this across the board that it adds this feature, and now once you figure it out, and that feature is, you know what I mean. Now you gotta go. Okay, yeah, that's worth keeping. I'm gonna smack everything with that. You know what I mean? It's a little bit tougher to define that male, in my opinion, that's worth, you know,
well, yeah. Well, it's because it's harder to, because you're not going to be able to really, like, are you going to really smoke it? Tell me. Are you going to lick the balls too?
no, but I
No.
tell you, I have had
You want
I
to,
think there is a weird reaction from pollen like that. So, uh, I have, I kicked the male, like say during the DOA project, I kind of just reached in, gave that pot a good, you know what I mean? And in that process, definitely inhaled some pollen, and there, without a doubt, had like that kind of a weird high. It was a high off of kind of ingesting, inhaling that pollen. And so I don't know if that counts as finding out a way of, some of his traits, but yeah, it was not a good way to find out. But yeah.
sorry. No. There's like it's very difficult to figure out unless you're just going to keep around. Well, you can go by like what you can go by the smell and then the actual physical structure. And then if you let it actually go out and do a full bloom, like you can just see like the just how much the flower set. I don't know. It depends on how far you're willing to go, I think. Typical people like they'll take clones of them, but they're not going to be as mature. So it's going to be harder for you to see the full structure. You got to commit some days.
True that. True that. So, do you see yourself, long term breeding, or coming up with your own strains and becoming a full fledged breeder at some point?
No, I'm always going to be a seed maker because then I can just like throw them at people and be like, there you go, try some seeds, have some fun, pass them around with my homies. And that way, yeah, because I'm not really one to go get some flashy logo or anything like that. Well, my buddies will have, I take that away because, like, if I go ahead and shut my thing down here, you can see my friend made me this nice logo.
That is pretty cool logo.
Yeah. We tried to do an Irish wolfhound, but realistically, those things don't really understand what an Irish wolfhound looks like. They gave us the wrong ears.
So, you just made me think of something. I'm a stoner in my mind. Squirrels like crazy.
Dude, I do that all the time. What books are
So,
behind you?
I have, though. There's a ton of cannabis books back there. Tons of cannabis books. And then there's a few other just life books. Most of my like books collections are Audible. I got a nice Audible collection.
Oh,
It's
cool.
super great. But those are, there's everything back there from cannabis Bibles to
Which one's your
subs book.
favorite? Your favorite? The one that if you had a fire, you would be so heartbroken.
Mm. What do you, that's a tough one. I
Sorry,
mean, for like information or,
Mark.
just, uh, or like just a good author type book. I mean, that's a tough one because like there's books that, have touched me in a lot of other ways that, other than cannabis that I'd be like, oh, that's the book. But in
Because
cannabis,
that's like the original book too. It's like, oh,
I don't know. The Grow Bible
yeah, I
for
understand. It's like
Marijuana
declaring the
Botany
love.
was a good one. Yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of them are signed. A lot of those books are actually signed by the authors to me. So that's why they're there. They're all pretty special. I'd be pretty fucking bummed if anything happened to any one of them, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, there's all kinds of
Hell
great books
yeah.
back there. That's a tough question. Super tough one.
There's so
I
many good
mean,
books out there.
there is, and just to even call out a good one lately, that's a tough one because I've listened to a lot of great books. I just was listening to "Let It Go" by Ellen Watts was is what I've been listening to lately, and then during the daytime hours, I'm listening to "Dirt." I can't remember who the author is right off the top of my head, but it's been a pretty good one. Anymore, as dedicated in as much as I love YouTube, I've been spending a lot more time with my Audible. uh,
Well, sometimes you need a good topic. You just need a different change of topic sometimes because we can get like obsessive about one thing and want to dive into it. And then it's like once we feel that we've reached like our peak, it's like, okay, now I'm bored with this. And it's like, how do you maintain staying? Because it's still a hobby, you still love it. How do you do that? And that's why I have to commend you for still coming on here week after week, giving us enjoyment. Oh gosh. Yeah, you're a good dude.
And it's this, the reason I do this is to meet great people like yourself. I've always been a networking kind of person, but I love people. I really do. I love great conversations, and I like finding out, in this case, uh, why people love cannabis. And this kind of stems from uh, wanting to know more about people. I'd sit down with all these people at a lot of these events, and we'd sit and smoke, and a lot of the times it was like, okay, yeah, what we were growing, but I was like, okay, we're deeper than that. So what else do you like to do, like, while you're high, so but I so that made me want to dive deeper into people and why they used cannabis and when that first time was, and that's what kind of became the base a little bit to this is wanting to know a little bit more, than the average what you're smoking and why you're smoking it. I really
For
enjoy
sure.
talking to people, and we all make up this fabric that is cannabis. You know what I mean? What is cannabis? It's all of us. Why do we use it? Millions of reasons. And I think that each one of our stories has every bit of a validity to it. Is the smugglers that we hear about, the breeders that are famed. You know what I mean? We're the people that use and grow and everything else. So, getting to know other people like myself has been a blessing. It really
We're
has.
the carrier pigeons.
Yes. So,
Yeah. I don't know. It's good. Like everyone starts somewhere. And it's been a pleasure just even being here then too. My apologies. It's just cold out here.
I
We're
bet you're
not too
such a
far away from
sport.
each other.
Yeah, but still, like I pointed out at the beginning, we're not too far each other, but only one of us is wearing a coat right now during this interview.
Well, well, yeah, but well, like I think I have more windows in this room too. Like we're both like in a cedar room. You can't tell. Here, let me see. Yeah, so this is just like a different part of the house though. It's not actually insulated and we don't actually have the furnace coming in here. But this is the smoking room. And this is what, you know what? I hang out in here anyways. It's just a typical Tuesday night. Oh, you're muted. I think you're still muted.
I am. I thought I
Yeah,
hit the
you
button.
are. Okay, cool.
It's touchy. It's a little
That's what she said.
touchy.
But I still do those. I know. Well, how can you not?
So What's on the two pop list? Do you have some stuff on deck and just patiently waiting for to get wet? Be putting the soil.
Well, we're gonna do the Acapulco Gold if that
Mm-hmm.
comes through, or when that comes through. But currently, we have right now the Big Mountain Fudge Cake and the Jack Tripper. I'm doing that. But then also, I made some Miss Cootie Pie and some Lebanese Rainbow. So what I want to do is I want to pop some more of that Lebanese Rainbow, and I think I want to do a pheno hunt for that one. I think that's my next big project. After that, who knows? Maybe I'll do the same thing for the coots and find a good pollen for that one. I want to be able to find pollens for each of them, and then I want to take them to the F1s.
So is your earthworm bins? I remember you saying you were gonna go full tilt there. Coots mix costs for a lot of earthworm castings there. Are you able to keep up with the demand for what the mix calls for?
I ended up just mixing them into my pots. So I actually don't have my earthworm bins anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got to re up my worms.
What happened? If you didn't, do you mind sharing?
Oh, yeah, no, I got bored and I didn't realize that they were completely dried out. And so I just had to make pots one day. So they just became part of the pots.
Right.
I think I might have another bin somewhere that I probably didn't take very much care of it. I bet if I moisturized it and started feeding it, it would probably actually potentially come back to life with all the because it had all the eggs.
I've always wanted to get into the the, the earthworm bins and shit like that, but I can be a little bit eccentric when it comes to that kind of shit. And once I start a process like that, I'm afraid I'll just be everything has a place. You know what I mean? Like as anybody approaches the garbage can, it's like, oh, you know what I mean?
All
There,
right,
there, there,
yeah.
there, there.
No, don't put that shit in there. Don't put your kitchen scraps in there. Like what you want to do is you want to treat it like you treat your pots. So you want to put in like your dry amendments, a little bit of gypsum, um, like set it up, like put in barley, kelp, alfalfa, put that stuff in.
Yeah, don't clean up the
Like,
house.
yeah. Like I would go onto like Coots Mix. And if you really want to, like at one point I studied Korean natural farming for funsies. You can do the Oriental herbal nutrient, like all those, the five ingredients. And you can put that stuff into your worm bins then too. So you can put like cinnamon, garlic powder, ginger, and angelica root and licorice root and stuff like that. You can put that stuff into your worm bins. That was one thing I did have fun doing too. Oh, and then like looking outside and just exploring the backyard, figuring out if, like, maybe if you have weeds nearby, if there are good things that you could compost and put into your soil.
I think if I were to ever get on a big enough piece of property, I may look into more of the K and F. lifestyle or nutrients. It seems, it just doesn't seem
Mm,
small scale. You know what I mean? Apartment friendly. You know what I mean? It seems like you start brewing up some shit in your apartment, you're gonna have some people on your floor pissed off or some shit. But I could be wrong with it. I've never really done a whole lot of the K and
the only thing that I would actually really, really do is, like I said, doing oh the the oriental herbal nutrient, putting that into the soil, and then if you wanted to, taking the IMO type stuff, like that would be a fun thing to play around with and do. I think that might be worth building if you're building your soil, if you have property.
Yeah, I think that while there's a lot, I would like to at some point in my life. I think I'd be pretty comfortable. I think most people, that's the dream these days, just to be like off grid. Get that piece of lot and that piece of land and kind of have be self sustained, large garden, cannabis, all the cannabis you can grow. I
Well,
literally,
that
I,
was the plan. That was the
yeah,
plan when we got this place, but then we have all the trees though. We have so many fucking trees, you wouldn't believe it. We have 3/4 of an acre and 20 fucking maple trees.
that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They all big trees, big maples too.
Yeah, they're all big. They're stupid big. So
Stupid.
all you have is shade, which is nice, but it's really hard to grow things. That's all right.
In time, right?
Have we really been talking this whole time?
What's that?
I didn't realize, like, I can't believe we've been talking this long.
It goes by pretty quick, really.
Yeah.
So how are we doing on time? And we still got time, or
Yeah, we still have time. I'm just more of like, well, because I'm usually like the one hiding in the background in Discord, not really talking that much. So,
I'm gonna hold that as a good sign.
yeah, it's your next person to have a discussion with.
So, do you do anything special during your flower process? Do you, like I kind of hinted to, I think we all have something we do during flower that even if it's crystals in the pot, you know what I mean? I think there's something that we do a little bit. We all have our little secrets. I mean, like I said, one of the things I like to
Secret
do is
sauce.
not stake until they actually have to be staked. I really believe that, that stress and flour is super good. But is there anything that you
Oh,
do?
yeah. Well, see, I don't usually stake them. I usually think if you trust in your soil, if you're adding in things, if you're top dressing, then I don't think you have faith in your soil system. And so half the times, if you are top dressing and if you add in something, I'm sorry to say that it might not actually even work that cycle, that plant cycle. It's not going to benefit from it. It's just going to get a boost from something else. And I don't know, if you just keep it stupid, simple, like try to do less is more, like water. And if you really want to do something, add barley.
Right on. Good advice.
Yeah,
What
I would
about
hardly.
your drying? How do you do your harvesting?
I suck at it. I suck at it. But I do have an idea. See, I do have a benefit that other people don't have. I have the basement, and that's at a nice temperature, and it's consistent, and it's like at a nice like humidity. So I think if I have it in a dark area and set it up, hang it dry, I think it's the timing of when you cut it down though. So I think it's important that you want to, if you look into when's the best time to cut down a tulip or when's the best time to cut down lavender for like the best oil expression, typically you want to do that in the middle of like at four, around like 4 o'clock in the morning. And so
Really?
it's, yeah, I don't even remember how they even got that number, or even please don't fact check me. And that's like a big thing for me is like, provide sources. But uh, but yeah, if you do look into like scholarly websites like Google Scholar, I would look into harvest schedules for lavender.
I'm sure there is a lot of science to that. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
just blows my mind that there would be, a magic time like that. But obviously,
Well, it's because it's like when it's the plants, like,
I would expect like in cannabis, like a day. You know what I mean? But you brought it right down to like, a time. The
well,
best
it's
time
because
of day.
it's like an hour or two right before the sunrise. And it's like right before it's starting to suck in like all of the, or it's when it's sucked in, it's starting to suck in a lot of the water that it's going to. And then it's just got, yeah. Do you believe in darkness? Like waiting, dark, like the 24 hours of darkness?
Mm, man, you know, I all right, you're twisting this, and I should be
Sorry.
answering these questions.
Well, and that's,
Well, I don't. As I get older, I'm realizing the more I get older, the more I don't know shit. I really don't know shit. Um, we tend to get set in our, as you kind of hinted to earlier, we get set in our ways, and we think, yeah, we know. But the more I think I know, and then learn different phrases in life or different ways of looking at things in life, I learn new things. You know what I mean? So I've tried the 24-hour darkness, and didn't really see, a whole lot of difference to say that, okay, I'm going to do this every time. And then, like your situation, with the whack a mole system, you have to have the extra, like, little space to tuck it in for 24 hours to keep, the system going. So that's extra space. But so I kind of said I laid that to rest a long time ago. I seen SoCal and chat. SoCal does it. I seen SoCal just suggest it, but
oh, hold on, wait. If you cut a flower, if you cut a daffodil or any sort of thing, is it still alive? Or how are we able to take clones of it?
see now that's a whole nother thing too, because you can take a clone of and that okay now you've just added
Ah,
on.
see,
See, you've just
I'm trying to
crazied
tell
it out
you.
a little bit. because I've actually argued that with like on lawyer levels, uh, that kind of like how long is it a flower and how long is it still alive? That's that's changed my perspective on drying too, because like I've had I'm still I love my herbs now machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a big fan of that. I have fucking hung dry whole plant. I've cut it down. I've wet trimmed. I've dried every different way I could. And I've flopped it around in my head all kinds of different ways. And then I've even argued in fucking with a lawyer friend of mine that we were trying at one point here in Michigan, they were what was legal or not legal came into a gray area many a times, and they were trying to say at one point as soon as you chop the plant now it was usable, and my argument that to that was no, it's not usable, it's not, it's still kicking until it's completely dry. You know, it's taken its last breath and then it's dead. Then at that point it's medicine. So in that in between time, because people were getting busted with hanging plants, and then they were considering that wet weight usable, right? And
Right.
so there was like, we were trying to clarify that. So my point being, it's not usable, even usable until it's completely dry. And at that point, it's now dead. But until that point, the plant's still alive. Okay. So,
It's unless they have like some sort of like, do they have like buckets and stuff like that to wash it right away
mm, no, well,
or to press it right away or to like, or do they have,
with that being considered, boy, I wouldn't want at that point would want to get busted after just
yeah,
washing, washing and then hang it dry. Adults ripping it wet. They're like, no, weigh it. You know what I mean? You'd been fucked at that point. And that
or
was
honey?
so. That was my argument then, and then later on in life, as this goes on, and like the seed, if you caught the seed talk a little bit the last few nights of, which way does it pop, is there a right way, wrong way to actually drop the seed in the soil, is there an up or down,
Oh, you
whatever.
can
there's a
compost.
lot there's a lot of talk to that. So uh I kind of got I squirreled a little bit on this. So all right, as far as drying there goes, the quick dry, I still believe there's no harm in a quick preservation of that plant. I think at that point, I like a flash drying, like with my herbs now, you get
Mhm.
a higher terpene profile, but you get a more of a range of terpene profile because it's still, uh, you've preserved it early on. You know what I mean?
Right.
To where I at one point this is where I flipped. I dove into organics, and then my organics mind kind of kicked back in about the wet drying or the hang drying, because there's always that argument, oh well, 60/60, it's the terms are so much different, and I'm just trying to weigh out in my head why there would be any difference. And again, is the darkness playing something into it? And that might be too, like the 24 hours of darkness before you harvest. I'm wondering if the 24 hour or the just the darkness period doesn't play something in that process that may change the terps at some point. Because now I'm thinking, especially if you're doing a whole plant hang, Okay, and now you're leaving more available water on the plant to survive. That's all the plant needs really to survive. You can take that plant, no roots, just like a rose, and put it in a fucking 2 liter of water, and you could, you know what I mean, flush out
That's
that
like
bud or
extreme stress.
keep it going for some. At some point, it would try to regenerate, grow roots. You know what I mean? It would try to stay alive. So by a whole plant hang, you're allowing, more you, especially if you're leaving the leaves on. You've got nutrients there, you've got water, you know what I mean? And now the plant's still alive and going through a stress period that may increase terpenes, or it's a stress factor that now uh it's creating a whole new terpene. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Because it is still alive and creating and doing something. So there might be something to the longer whole plant hang versus the flash. You know what I mean? And even at that, I kind of come to another revelation of lately as of jar curing or plant senescence or like curing on the plant as I'm almost thinking of it now. See, if you
Oh, a
you
jar cure
harvest
is dangerous. Let's just
they
say
are
dangerous. I've wrecked a whole plant almost.
hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Like you can do it, you can do it, but you just one little bit can wreck the whole batch.
So this is my argument with that, and I have a lot of arguments against the jar curing, and you're kind of fanning it a little bit with that. But okay, it is super difficult to not wreck it overall. Secondly, I kind of feel like you're trying to turn it into you're trying to polish the turd. You're trying to polish the turd. You know what I mean? At that point, you're hoping I'm going to put this up and hope it gets better, basically. And at that point, like all them individual terpenes that I had talked about earlier, that like you can more represent. There's a larger representation from the flash dry. You know what I mean? I like my herbs now. To where like if you jar cure or you long term cure, you take all those individual terpenes and now you kind of like put them in like a gym bag. You throw in the socks in there with the sweaty shirt and you closed it up, and a month later the shit smells like all of it smells like socks. You know what I mean? All the smells bound together, and now all the fabric now smells like that. And that's what I think the long term cure is. All them terpenes just dance together, make their own profile, and then kind of become something a little bit different in the jar.
Well, they
And,
all definitely change, I think.
well,
Well, sometimes you'll have like a general idea of how they will be, but as they age out a little bit more, like I remember like my buddy, she grew this Humboldt Dream, and when I initially smoked it, I didn't taste the banana, but after I waited, and that was from Blue Kiss. Oh, love that woman. She is the weed fairy.
she threw you a little bit of love in chat earlier.
Oh, yes, we love her. So I tried her Humboldt Dream recently, and ooh, let's do it right now. Oh wait, that means that I have to smoke more.
Oh no, please
Oh
don't.
darn. Oh shuck. Oh shit. Which bag is it in? our furnace went out today, so we had to. Turns out that the furnace guy was a pothead too. So I sent him home with some samples. So I brought out like a whole bunch of bags.
Nice. That's the way to get some good service the next round.
Oh yeah. Well, then he showed us that we have one of those whole home air purifiers. And basically all it is, it's like one of those ozone lights, but they have to be replaced every 3 years. And I asked him, well, how do you know if it needs to be replaced? And he opened it up and he checked and he was like, yeah, that looks burnt out. And he told us how to order it, and then he told us how to care for the furnace so we don't have to call them back again, so we can just do it ourselves.
Nice. That's a
Oh
straight
yeah.
up dude.
Oh yeah.
So
Ours 11.
the other verse thing I'm saying now a little bit, it's, and you're right. There's other ways that that cannabis changes in the jar other than with the flavor profile. It changes molecularly. You know, it's degrading and working further down the chain too. Uh, so I believe that the same things can be achieved. Well, at least that feeling that people like from the molecule being a little bit worked down or a little bit more aged to the N or the G side of things to more of a long term senescence or a later flower time harvest. You know what I mean? To more where the trichomes are a little bit more amber. But then at that point, now you've got that high you're looking for a longer cured cannabis, but yet you retain that wider terpene profile. You know what I mean? As of a fresher harvested cannabis. That's kind of my thoughts on like the fresh cure versus the jar cure. I'm kind of thinking of it as now.
Yeah, I think it also definitely has come down to like when you do the cut. Like, so how long do you like is it how do you decide that it's a 20-day, or I'm sorry, that it's like a 10-week? Or do you know that it's like, are you gonna is it actually more of an 11-week for your system? So, or I don't know. I think that we tend to harvest the plant a little bit sooner than we're supposed to. But I actually technically I rarely even find that much amber in my plants. But I also have my plants lights up a little bit higher than usual. I don't run them to the max. I believe less is more.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah. I don't know.
I do believe that we're been encouraged for a very long time to harvest a little bit on the earlier side, the clear to cloudy side versus the cloudy to amber or the more amber side. Uh, and I was guilty of you know the the just clear to barely amber, maybe 5% at best at one point. But as I've kind of learned, that's like I said, as I get older, all the things I think were tried and true, I've opened it up my mind and tried to re understand things these days. So, I do change things a little bit, but it's ever evolving. What I do in the garden these days is ever evolving. I'm still not stuck in my ways of doing anything, I think, these days.
All right. I don't know. It's like, do you think like a true sativa is like, how do you know when to harvest a sativa or like a haze?
Well, I think letting it go the full
Yeah.
senescence, actually, I kind of got spaced out there a little bit there. But that's one of the things that I've changed in my growing style is letting the plant go for a full more senescence. Letting the plant go out. That's where I think a lot of the growers miss out on in that harvesting early is the bulk up. In the senescence, there's like a week of bulking, when everything's going from
I forgot about that part.
cloudy to amber. And most people try to add hardeners to get that extra bulking or densening of the bud so they can harvest earlier. But if you let the plant actually do it, it will do it naturally itself through the natural senescence of the plant. So nowadays, I tend to like just letting it go, letting it ripen out and get ugly. Pretty much
No,
ugly before I harvester these days.
I don't know what's in a bud hardener. I don't know. And so that was the other reason why I didn't really want to go with salts because I asked too many questions at the grow shops.
EGRs for one,
Yeah.
and plant hormones, and a lot
Well,
of
like you ask
bad
them.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
molasses can be a hardener.
Oh, that's above
Uh,
my pay grade, friend.
So where do you take it from the drying side of things? Do you keep it all flour? Do you make any kind of extracts? Do you make any edibles? Do you make oil?
On occasion, I'll make an edible. I actually had one tonight. I think it definitely started kicking in about like 30 minutes ago.
Nice.
I didn't quite do it TARDIS level, so we're alive. Like we're still kicking.
I resisted the urge to have some edibles tonight. I almost made it. I thought about like having it during the show, and then I thought that is a stupid idea.
What? That's exactly what happened to me. I was like, whoosh.
Oh no, there's a
Fuck.
difference. If it would have been like a cookie or something, I'd have been down. But this awesome lady, out of many hats that I wear,
Oh, I bet you get
lately,
everybody trying to send you cookies.
I get some cookies, but this lady, I've been doing a maintenance position lately, and this lady that's a tenant in this building, so offered me some stuff the other day and had popcorn in it, edible popcorn. And she
Oh,
stopped
fuck
me
yeah.
today and asked me if did you try it? And I'm like, not yet. And hopefully I'll get to it today. And then earlier, I thought,
Oh, that
I
would have
should
been
eat that during
perfect.
the show. Then I thought, how stupid. You can't sit there and eat popcorn during an interview. I mean, come on, be professional
Yeah,
about it, Chief.
I would have told, like, if we had talked about this like beforehand, I would have told you, dude, do it. I would have brought on the brownie then too. Because I seriously, I like, you know what? I was like, I have all these brownies. They're gonna go to waste if I don't. Yeah. So you gotta cut yourself a square. Or not a square, but like, oh gosh. Like I said, I don't usually make edibles, but I did for Thanksgiving because I want to be prepared for when I went over to my parents' or my mom's house. And oh, they came in handy. They were delightful. You can make good brownies. And I recommend if you do, all right, so if you're making like a crock pot, type. Oh gosh, sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place. So if you want to make an instant pot butter, or you can basically you want to take ghee and you want to take coconut oil and you basically cover it with your THC and everything. Yummy. And you just do that for like 175. And that's like at the saute level. And it just you do that for like 10 days and it's perfect. Oh, you're muted. Sorry, my friend.
Sorry about that. No, my bad. And thank you.
Oh no, you're being a good
I
man.
enjoy I enjoy multi-day edibles there. Uh, they just get better. They just get better on consecutive days edibles too, I think, to be honest with you.
Quality is worth quality in, quality out. And it's just, yeah. I didn't realize that if you did it longer. And you know what? Before I was having a hard time with edibles, but now I'm actually getting ripped. This is bad. This is very, very bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Ah,
Edibles for me do like this. First day high, second day hungover, kind of couch locked. Third day
yeah.
Superman. Third day, that's serious, man. Second day, like I'm laying on the couch, or kind of like, oh, I've got that nice couch lock. I've rested, and I've like went in deeper with the edibles, and then the third day, it's kind of like kicked in his medicine, man. Everything works right. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get some shit done today. Day three, yeah.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I could
yeah.
never keep them that long. I get I'll make a batch of cookies or some shit, and that'll get me by for like a week. But then after that, I lax on making more, but I enjoy the edibles like more than I should, I guess.
So out of my whole time of like smoking cannabis, I think this is my like fourth time making brownies.
So you
Yeah,
have you ever
that's how
had like a
rare.
hallucination yet? Have you ever?
No, but I did get the spinnies one day.
Yeah.
This is like back in the day when I made like Fico. And yeah, I made Fico hot chocolate from out of the pan. And yeah, I got the spinnies.
Fecal hot chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Just like to take that spoon and right to the hot chocolate.
Oh, well, no, it's basically, well, all right. So you know how at the very end of when you're cleaning up, what the hell do you do with the like, you have residue, you know, after you're done making the Fico. So I decided to make hot chocolate out of the pan, and it was very strong.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So was it just like a sleep, or just you said the spinnies was spinnies sleep for a day?
Oh, it was not a fun day or a fun night. Well, I just ended up going back to I just ended up I got the spinnies, have motion sickness, so you can kind of gather. Um, Ended up going to bed. But I slept really well.
Nice. Best time I've ever had as far as that goes was It's probably the second or third time I really made a good effort into like making some butter and just went at it just completely naive and stupid. Completely naive and stupid. And I hallucinating fucked up. And I honestly, kind of wish I could reproduce it all because it was a good time. Most people may, I mean, if you hadn't maybe dealt with psychedelics prior, might have been a hospital trip for somebody, but me, I was like, this is fun. I spent like 40, I had like a hysterical laugh shower for like 45 minutes, followed by just another hour or two of like uncontrollable laughing. But like, so what I did was I just like hammered myself, bang, 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 and didn't even think about it. So I made the butter, and then I've got cannabis in the cheesecloth, and I am just bare knuckling, squeezing the cheesecloth out. And when I say bare knuckle, I'm like no gloves, and I'm just literally just, just giving it my all to give again because my cheap ass, I want every drop of oil out of it, and it's literally like through my fingers, running down my arm, and I don't think anything about it as it's
So
now
moisturized.
soaking into my skin. I now know it was soaking into my skin. Then turn around and go, all right, now I'm going to make some cookies. And so I turn around and make a quick batch of some mint chocolate chip cookies. And as soon as they come out, I gobble down 4 or 5 cookies. They're just delicious. Mint chip makes like a thing. The two together make like a Girl Scout like thin mint. Mint hides cannabis amazingly. Power a bunch of those down, and then have a joint, and then it all starts kicking in. And I'm like, I actually like smoke a joint. I'm like, all right, I'm going to lay down. And then I wake up just completely hallucinating. I get up and my head feels it feels like it's about like 10 feet above my body. And I like head into the bathroom and I'm like trying to shake it off and I can't. I decided, well, I'm gonna jump in the fucking shower and try to shake this off, and then ended up just uncontrollably laughing in the shower to where, I've got at this point teenage kids that are, they're old 16, 17, 18, and
Okay.
they're not kids, but and they know dad smokes, and then I've never hid the fact that I've smoked in front of my kids. So I get a little, you all right in there? Because I'm like literally like fucking laughing my ass off. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get out of the shower, and I'm just having the bestest time. And yeah, it lasted for a good 6, 8 hours, all in all, after waking up. But that was probably, like, the best experience I've had with edibles. And I've never like really, I don't know what the milligrams it takes to get there. But at some point I would try it again. I mean, I don't. It was, it was a good time. It was I had fun. I don't. I'm not suggesting it. I'm not running out there and telling you, hey, go ingest a large amount of cannabis to see if it, you know, you have a psychedelic experience, but
Well,
it's
I'm actually
definitely
thinking
possible.
Like, yeah, like one of those like THC bath bombs or something like that. One of those might be brilliant then too. To do one of those while trying to have like then on top of eating some edibles.
Maybe. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hot oil. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it's a good time. Yeah, I like the edibles. But on the downside of that, I've seen the other side. I've seen the other side. I haven't been on the other side. I've seen the other side of that. And by my own flesh and blood. Uh, my daughter later in life, one of them, a beautiful daughter, Alexis, who you may see, Lexi I, you may see in chat. It's good. That was one of the beautiful things cannabis has actually uh, strengthened the relationship with me and Lexi. In time, there was at one point she had a car accident. And cannabis saved her life and brought her into the cannabis community. And but so Dad makes chocolate. Nowadays, I like to make my chocolate. When I make butter and stuff like that, I make it strong, strong. That way, I'm like using less. Butter's strong as hell, but I use a third. Add real butter. It's not so bad. It's not so cannabisy. But if it's just for me, again, I'm still looking for that hallucination recipe. So I make some chocolate and it was fucking strong. It was really good. And I give some to Lexi. Lexus wanted some, and she had a ball. The first day she had a ball. And then the next day, there's like a whole chunk of slab, I should say, of chocolate in the freezer. And
Yeah.
she decides she's gonna have just as much fun as she did yesterday, and she decides to just break off a big chunk and go back in, and actually had full lockup. I mean, I forget what the term. There's a term for that, but she was completely locked up, paralyzed with fear, basically. I mean, she couldn't move her toes, she couldn't bend her legs, she had
Yeah,
trouble breathing.
like a panic attack.
Yeah, completely locked up. And I ended up like having to like coach her with, breathing techniques. And, it wasn't the pleasant side of cannabis, that's for sure. Nowadays, she won't, because of that experience, she won't eat edibles to this day. But
Well, especially if like that happened early on, I can totally understand. Like one of the reasons why I'm really hesitant on taking like mushrooms or shrooms is because very early on, I like, during like the teenage years or like, 21, I think I did sativa, and that was a terrible, terrible experience. It was basically a nightmare the entire trip.
I've heard, different experience. I've never tried it myself, but some people say that it is kind of a must, as far as like the spiritual journey. It's like one of the steps leading up to like kind of DMT. I think there's some steps to that. Again, I'm not. They may be wrong, but it's like mushrooms, salvia,
Was
DMT,
it that salvia or was it
ayahuasca.
sativa? Salvia, sativa. Oh, salvia. Thank you.
Well, there's both.
Yeah.
Well, sativa would be this
No,
cannabis, right? And salvia is
no, no,
like,
no. Salvia. I was talking salvia. Sorry. I had a brain fart. I'm a stoner. Whoops. I'm a pothead.
nothing wrong with that. It's a
Yeah, we
bad
like that
genre.
though.
Yeah.
It is. It really is. There's absolutely nothing wrong to be a pothead.
Mm-mm. So outside of like say the medical side of cannabis and the cultivation side of cannabis, what are some of the things you like to do while consuming cannabis? I mean, I think
I hang out on the Discord servers way too much. Way too much. But you know what? That's where I found a lot of my friends, and that's how I've learned like like the techniques through them, like the different styles of things that I would want to adapt or just yeah, like sharing like my styles with them then too.
right on, right on.
Yeah. Then plus
Nothing wrong with that.
like I'm not very strong when it comes like to genetics and stuff like that. So they've taught me a little bit more about genetics. But until you've actually smoked each and every one, you'll never actually know. It's like, I don't know. We'll get there one day. I got life goals.
They're
Smoke
good
more
ones.
weed.
That's a good goal to have right there. Shit, there's so many. At one point, I thought I could. I really thought I could. Like, if you had asked me, like, say, 10 years ago, yeah, there's a possibility you could go through them all. But these days, with the rate we're breeding at today, there's got to be 10,000s or plus strains, I would think, out there nowadays, which seems like that'd be tough. I'm willing to accept the challenge. I'm willing to fight the fight with you.
Let's do
But
it.
I don't.
Let's do it. Should we start with like send eagle cookies contest? Like, ooh, a cookie baking contest. You can be the judge.
Mm,
Oh
that would
my
be.
goodness.
I keep getting. I've never been in an edible eating contest, but I keep being called out for one every time I see Carla. Cheers, Carla.
Woohoo.
Crispy Treat Kitchens here in Michigan. So, have you ever had any edible pickles?
No, I have not. That sounds
Yeah,
amazing.
they're they're quite the enigma for me. I don't understand how it works, but they work. That's all I can tell you. Them pickles are like firecrackers. Literally, I mean, you can eat one of them pickles and like be completely fucked up very quickly. And every time I see Carla, she's usually selling pickles at the event that I'm at. And at some point, she decides to put on like a pickle eating contest. And I always hear my name being called out for like the challenge. And I always tell her, God damn it, I gotta drive home.
Oh
I
my
gotta,
goodness.
I can't be getting in a pickle eating contest, damn it. Fucking, I gotta make it somewhere after this. Yeah, I would seriously think that'd be dangerous though on a multi pickle. I'm telling you, if you ever get around and trying it, I don't know if it's the big how like if it's the vinegar, you know what I mean? That
I don't know.
how it hits you so quickly, but they hit very quickly. I don't know what she does to it or what the process is, but them pickles literally are like a firecracker. By the time you get it down, and then 5 minutes later, you're like, "Holy fuck!"
That sounds oddly addictive. I should definitely look into it. That's definitely, ooh, maybe next summer, start like a patch of pickling cucumbers.
And that's the other reason too. I don't. I should stay. I love edibles, but I should probably stay away. I have a tendency to like gorge a little bit, like on sweets, like binge eat on sweets, or I've had some good salsa. I've been fucked up on salsa.
Mm,
Just eat a whole jar of medicated salsa and found myself took pretty tore up like that.
sorry for the trains.
Um, it's yeah, some they mix cannabis with all the good shit. It's not like the edibles that you'd be like, I'm gonna have a. There's no edible prunes. You know what I mean? I had that one prune. I'm good for the day. They make edibles that are like, yeah, I want more of those. Give me another bag of the fucking sweet candy, and I'll keep you. No, they don't make.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't usually do edibles. That's why I usually smoke mine.
Nah, I enjoy the edibles. I enjoy it every way I can get it. To be honest with you. What about
Yeah.
dabs? You a dabber?
No, I don't.
No.
I mean, I've dabbed a few times, like a handful. Blue Kiss was actually, she gave me some dabs. I forgot what was we dabbed. It was out that Michigan event, which was fun. Um, yeah, I got ripped. She was amazing. She's such a good girl.
She is pretty fun. That's for sure. I've met her. I've been able to meet her a few times, and she's definitely a lively soul. Yeah,
Yeah, she is. She's like the life of the party.
the last time, one of the last times, first time we did the camping thing, she shot in like a dart, literally.
All of her gear.
All open lot. She chose to come right. She literally drove right to the campsite that, right next to us, basically. Jumped out of the car. Like, is that Blue Kiss? It sounds like Blue Kiss. What's Blue Kiss?
Yeah, she's
So
on the
that,
discords a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's a weird subject with me. I don't Discord. I don't Discord.
And you know what? It's not everybody's jam, but you know what? It is some of ours.
I'm not gonna take that away from anybody. That's why I
Mhm.
don't say anything.
Oh yeah. Well,
That's
and
why.
that's just it's a good way to socialize, especially I don't know, I live in a bit little more of a rural area. So it works for us.
I've been less of a social butterfly lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, kind of disappearing into the audible. Lately.
Oh no, there's so many good books out there. At least you're reading something or listening to something good.
There's a lot of good stuff out there. What subjects do you like to listen to or read about?
Oh, you know what? The last book, I'm trying to think of the last book I was actually reading. The last book I read for pleasure. I was trying to see if I could pick up the Harry Potter series and reread them, but I couldn't do it.
No,
No, I couldn't get back into that. Um, but recently, wait, no, I have the Jane Austen. That's what I was going to pick up. That was my second choice. Then what next?
no. So, do you prefer hands-on reading, or do you prefer an audible like that?
I don't do the Audible.
No,
No, I don't do that. I prefer the hands-on.
nice.
Oh, like I'm over here because like I have like my little book section then too. That's similar to yours. It's just, yeah. I have my gardening books too. Like, what does a plant know? I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read them all. I have like a couple, yeah, just a couple of different gardening books, and then some self-improvement ones that I had from a while ago.
I love motivational self development and motivational. I to this day still listen to a lot of that shit. To be honest with you.
I think women, the art of the ask, or oh gosh, I'll send you a link to it. It's like it was basically teaching women how to ask for negotiating and stuff like that.
Okay.
That one
Okay.
was pretty good.
I listen to a lot of psychology books. To be honest with you,
Oh gosh, that's a dangerous path.
it is. It is. Well, I like psychology, philosophy, and a lot of Buddha books, Buddhism books, mindfulness. Uh,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff like that is, the philosophy stuff for me is like mental coffee. Like I said, it's taken me down a different path in life. I at one point I was very rigid in the things I thought I knew, and that was the way. There was no other way. You know what I mean? You could learn and improve things a little bit, but as I've read through a lot of these books and mindfulness and stuff like that, you got to kind of take yourself away from situation and ask yourself, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? What am I getting from this? And looking at things in a different perspective. Uh, I kind of realized that things I was very rigid in. I've learned that there's different ways. There's not always that one way. There's other paths that can be just as fruitful or more fun, or so. Through sort of a lot of this reading lately, I don't look at things the same anymore. I try to reevaluate or try to look at things in a new light these days. You know,
It's important to have that kind of headspace. Not everybody's able to get into like that positive mindset because it's just a difficult way to do. And it's like you have to exercise that part of your brain though. And it takes time. And so in everything worth doing, it's just it takes time. You have to make a habit. You just have to practice each and every day. And no one's going to be good at it. I don't know. I try to late at night. I've been trying to like instead of like watching a TV show going to sleep, I'll put on like some sort of like meditation, like Headspace or something, like for
oh
sleep.
man, binaural beats. Have you ever tried some of the megahertz, the frequencies, or binaural beats while you sleep?
Uh you know what? I probably have tried like the frequencies. I pretty don't know like the names. I've also tried like the sound baths.
Hmm.
Sound
They're
baths are
nice.
pretty good too.
Oh yeah. I recently I just passed it on. Just passed it down or hand me down it to my youngest daughter. Invested some money into a My Cozy, which is it's a sleep mask. so it covers your eyes, and then Bluetooth to the phone. And it had little like flat earbuds you could push around, and you didn't feel when you laid on them. You know what I mean? You
Oh, that's
couldn't.
cool.
And man, I got lost in some sound bath sleeps and thunderstorms or some binaural beats, man. Some of the best sleeps ever. The total darkness with the sound therapy, amazing, amazing rest. Especially let up, you prime that you prime that up with a good joint, before that. Yeah, good sleeps, good
Oh
nights.
yeah. Oh no, I'm all for getting good sleep. Oh no. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry, I had a little bit of green tea. I was worried about being alert and awake this late.
no worries, no worries.
Oh yeah.
So, do you prefer tea versus coffee?
You know what? I always have a cup of tea at night, and then I have tea in the morning or coffee. I usually like to do like a positive energy. It's like a green tea. Like it's by Yogi. Oh, it's delightful. And I am not sponsored by them, but oh, yeah, I like their products.
Yeah, they do have good teas for sure.
Hmm.
I switch back and forth. I'm mainly a coffee person, but I do appreciate some teas. That's for sure.
Do you switch off caffeine after a certain time?
No, I wish I did. At one point, I've drank coffee so much my whole life. I can live. I could. I could. Drink this energy drink and probably go to bed.
Oh
To be
God.
honest with you, even I could drink coffee until 4 in the morning, fresh pot, and then turn around, and go to sleep. And just,
No, I'm caffeine sensitive now. Like
yeah,
very sensitive to it. Yeah. And then I forgot that. Yeah. Oh wow. It's all good
I've
though.
I actually found that it's more of an addiction than anything. That I have went times where I have given up caffeine there for a minute, and I found my energy levels were kind of higher. That I was actually the coffee and whatnot I found was working like a Ritalin towards me. It was actually kind of keeping me calmer and level headed. I found myself without the coffee to be more active and more energy. The coffee worked like a Ritalin and just kind of burned off the excess energy I would normally have. You know what I mean?
I feel
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I enjoy
Like you
some
just
coffee.
normalized by it.
So
Oh.
have it was the I think you said the Gems event was your first cannabis gathering there?
Well, it was well in Michigan, yeah. In Illinois, we don't really have that many events, but they actually just opened up a grow shop locally. They're going to be doing some more events there. I forget what's the name of the grow shop though. I'm a terrible friend.
I wish more grow shops would open up. You know, that's one of the sad things about seeing the evolution of cannabis is as price goes down, more and more growers have hung it up, which is sad. And grow stores haven't been able to survive. You know what I mean? The clientele isn't there anymore. And it should be the opposite. I'd like to see the grocery stores come back and more people take up cultivation again. I think if more and more people were actually growing the plant, the fight to keep it legal would be a lot more easier in the end. You wouldn't be able to take our right to grow after after you grow, you would understand. how important it is for people to be able to grow their own.
Well, you got to destigmatize it, and then you also have to spoon feed people. So you have to make it super simple for them to be able to do it. And realistically, some people like it's a lot of an investment to initially get started. I mean, you have to buy the whole lights, you have to buy the grow room, you have to get the soil, or you have to get the nutrients, or you have to pick a nutrient, you have to pick a style. There's a lot of different things. The hardest part of growing is starting, I feel.
You know, it is sad that the stigma is so thick still. And not in just growing the plant, but the plant in general. I mean, people getting to try people to try it as a medicine. You know what I mean? Or take it seriously as a medicine. There's still that stigma of drug culture or, you know, the brainwashing from the propaganda there that keeps people from trying the plant recreationally or medicine or growing it. You know what I mean? That stigma that we all grew up on is still so very thick. How do I mean? You know, any ideas on how we can undo or erase some of that stigma? I mean,
I think like if we were able to legally sell auto flowers at flowers markets, that could be a good starting point.
right on, right on. Why autoflowers though? Just because?
Because of the light situation. The light situation, like especially uh, yeah, because they don't have the ability, they may not have the ability to have complete darkness. And you want to try to send them home with good success. You can tell them that it's very fragile. So you want to basically try to transplant it right away and be very, very gentle if you want a bigger plant. Or you can just sell different size autoflowers and then calculate the cost of your soil into that mix. So essentially you're selling dirt.
Right, right. You think at some point that I even see it come, like some of these pre-mixed, you know, countertop. You see them like lavender. All you do is pull like the tab back and water it, and next thing you know, you got lavender
Oh, that's a
plants.
good idea.
At some point, we'll see that with like auto flowers or something.
Autoflower kits in
Yeah.
Walmart.
So I brain farted when, and I
Well,
just
because it
remembered.
is legal to sell seeds. And as you know what? By the way, for people, service announcement, if you want to sell your seeds, make sure that you just have them like check your state's agricultural laws, like through the USDA. And you just make sure you might have to register for a nominal fee. It's like I think for Illinois, I think it's like for like $35.
So I was gonna divulge this when you showed me your artwork there, and I thought of this like I don't know
Oh,
about a year ago, and I'm gonna give it away. I've given away a lot of great ideas on this show. This one I'm gonna kind of call out because I've seen, or I've talked to rather somebody in the cannabis community. I think that might be able to take this idea and run with it, and that would be Madam Euphoria. But anybody qualified can take this idea and run with it. So what I envision And for some reason, I just envision it like knitted. That's why I could call out Madam Euphoria because she does the mushrooms there, the knitted mushrooms. But it's
Okay.
a it's a dog it's a dog collar. Remember like the old the dogs that used to carry the whiskey barrel there under
Yeah.
the like the search dogs. I think we should start making dog collars with like an emergency like barrel that we can like that it is a joint encased. You know what I mean? It's a
Oh
green.
gosh.
You know what I mean? So your pooch just wanders around with your emergency joint or whatever.
Oh gosh.
your rescue. You know what I mean? They have service dogs anyway, so why can't your service dog have a little
Who's gonna think
pre-rolled
to search
tray
the
or something?
dog?
Yeah, right.
Like, do you want to pet down my dog?
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to have like a little like emergency like collar, rescue collar for our, yeah, for your animal to hold and carry your, yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh, that'd be so cool.
Right?
Yeah, Claire is no longer here. Oh, I used to have a service dog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was a pretty
do-
cool, dude.
dogs are amazing.
Let's see. But I could definitely like, ooh, or something in the handle. Something in the handle. Like a built-in like plastic type thing. Like a
Oh,
joint holder. That could
yeah.
definitely work. A doobie holder.
They there's yeah, multiple things. Just depends on the size of the dog, really. I see rescue dabs. Giant glass says rescue dabs. If it was a big dog, you could have just like a get like almost like that little keg. Crack it open, and it could be a half ounce in there for. You- Who's to know what the emergency is or how long it could take? You
You never know.
know. What is your
All right.
favorite animal? Is it a dog?
Yes, it is. It's the Irish Wolfhound.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to have two of them. And right now I have like a lazy little miniature type one. He's a mixed breed rescue. But in
Nice.
the spring, we're planning on getting another Irish Wolfhound. So,
Very good.
oh yeah, we like the big dogs.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I at one point had a few. My guys are all little, and it's funny. The mute thing. There's many reasons for the mute button, and my guys are one of the biggest reasons. Twice this evening, my boy Bubba back there, uh,
Aww.
he gets a little separation thing going and likes to sing me songs, sad, I miss you songs. And there's been twice now where he's been behind me howling, and I've had to mic off, and Miss Angel's had to jump up and be like, Bubba, Bubba, your dad's trying to do the show. That's what the headphones. That's where the headphones come from. Is because there's been times to where uh, I couldn't block them out, and it's even in the other room. It can be a little hard to uh, concentrate when the old guys singing me songs back there, and they are songs. They're 100%
You
songs. Yeah, and
just spoke mine. He's been pretty good this whole time. this whole time. He was just, I don't know what did it, but he was just sleeping merrily. I don't know, but he's awoke now. Probably saying about to say it's time to go outside.
Mm.
Well, how about we have like one last I'll do some of I'll blaze up some of Lucas's Humboldt Dream, which is like bananas. It's got like this banana flavors and it's delightful. And it's an excellent good night weed.
Nice. I'm just gonna, since I'm unprepared, I'm just gonna puff on this here rose. That's one of, I guess, the bad things about being a joint smoker is you can't be that quickly prepared as a full
Oh,
smoker.
yeah. But you know what? You have less to clean up.
And there's something to be said. There's different heights. Or, you know, that's a whole nother subject right there too. Is how you like your cannabis and the temperature. You know, I think
Mhm.
the size of the piece and everything matters, or has a part to play in the overall effect. You know, a longer piece, the temperature may be uh, it cools, so it's more of a couch lock effect. It seems like the hotter smoke usually is more, you know, more of a heady type high, you know, straight off of something, a shorter piece, a spoon, you know, versus a bong. You know, they're like from piece to piece, from joint to pipe to bong. Each one
Hmm.
all has their different high to it. You could put the same weed in all three, and all three will take you to different places.
That's interesting. I never even really noticed that. Well, but that would actually make sense though. Like just
Yeah.
because like it's even cherries and
Well,
just
one of the first people that actually kind of put that on my radar, and then it made more and more sense as I watched people dab. You know, the temperature in which they preferred that dab made a big difference to them. But it was, you know, credit where credit is due, is Cascadian grown.
oh, he's
Initially
a good
started, yeah, he's an amazing dude, and he started talking about temperature, uh, the, the temperature of the smoke creating different highs, and even went as far as to say that just the joint in itself was a good example from like smoking a whole joint. You know what I mean? As that joint got smaller and smaller, that it starting to tweak the high a little bit. So his example was you could take a joint, full size joint, hit it a couple of times or smoke half of it, and that initial first half would be a different high. So you could pick up that joint later or the second half of that joint and it be different both because of, well, the resin and, well, just the temperature of the smoke, it being closer to you, you know what I mean? So half the distance, by the time you're in inhalation, it would take you to a different place than a full joint cooler smoke. But it's that's where the thought process came from. And then the more and more I thought about it, the more and more it made sense. And then the more and more I kind of challenged that in my personal life, and it held up. It holds up. You know, that temperature makes a huge difference in where you want to go. Peace, for sure.
I'll have to explore that more, especially with all the different ones, like the different treasure trove or different ones that have. Say like which ones I prefer on my what temperatures.
Right
I
on.
do it like in joints sometimes. Then I also do them in spliffs, and then I do it in the bong.
It's a, so is a spliff to you? What do you technically categorize a spliff? Is that just a big joint with a filter, or is that
So
just a joint?
it's a joint with tobacco but weed,
Okay.
but with a different type of with a filter that's made on a cigarette machine. So yeah, it's what I do is I make them on the cigarette machine. And what I'll do is I'll put in probably about like a quarter gram of cannabis near the top end of the spliff. And then the machine rolls it back and spits it out. And I
Uh,
make, yeah.
so the tobacco helps take it to a little bit different place too, then I'm sure.
Well, it's so I'm not just doing straight up weed,
I know.
straight up. And so it's like it can measure it. And so so it's like it spoon feed it a little bit every day.
Do you smoke cigarettes
Yeah.
as well?
But then, like, that's why I try to do more of the bong.
You know, I know.
So, yeah. Like, I don't know. I have fibromyalgia, so it's harder for me to um roll joints and stuff like that. And I'm a terrible joint roller. I don't know.
Yeah,
When I
me
do,
too.
they're just too strong. They're just too tight. Oh yeah, I have one of those things.
I go back from the hand rolling to the roller, depending. I don't mind a nice even joint.
You get yours nice and fluffy.
Hmm?
Like yours look nice and fluffy, or like nice and I don't know. Maybe I just need to add more material. But whenever I try to add more material to mine, I just can't do it as nice as yours.
Well, the roller, I don't know. The zigzag roller seems to be pretty nice, and the newness matters. They tend to like gum up underneath, and the longer the life of the roller, the smaller of the joint. It seems like the tighter and smaller they get in time.
Oh,
So I like a new roller, like I like a sharp knife or a new saw blade. You know, there's just something beautiful and effortless about a new roller. And or like, you know, have you ever like you cut something with a freshly sharpened knife? It's just like, you know what I mean? Just
yeah.
goes through whatever effortlessly. That's the same thing with a new roller. It just you can stuff it in there and it just zip.
It keeps it warm.
Beautiful joy every time. I try, yeah. So I try to, yeah, I try to keep up on a newer rollers. Keep them clean anyway.
A good
So,
pro tip. All right, this banana is delightful. Lucas, you're amazing. Oh,
cheers. I
cheers.
appreciate your time coming hanging out tonight.
You're very welcome. And thank you, everybody else, for tuning in.
You know, after the bong hit, we got to do the sound bite before you go.
Thanks.
I think you know, you should know. I think you know how it goes. Basically, what I'm looking for is hey, this is Eagle, and I'm on fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 825. You say whatever you want before or after. You can throw
Oh,
in
shit.
Instagram, Discord. I don't care. Make it yours, but just make sure and put that episode number in there. So, they know what episode to go back and watch. You know, at some point it took a while, but I'm putting them back out there as the commercials. You know what I mean? You've seen some of them on
Oh
Instagram.
man, I have to be a commercial. I have to
Well,
commercialize, or can I just be like,
at
I'll,
at some point,
what?
you want to
I'm
remind
gonna
them
keep
to
it
go back and
sweet. I
watch
hate
this
swearing.
episode, right? Yeah.
No, not really. Well, they should. For you, just for you.
All right, you ready? Here we go.
Hey, this is Val, or also known as Alwayzsweet. Welcome to You're Talking Shit with Eagle. Thank you for tuning in. And today we're going to talk about a whole host of things between harvesting to organic gardening. And I have an angry dog. So I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Thank you for watching. And this is episode
825.
825. I hope you have a great day.
Cheers, Val. Thank you for your time. Go let
Sorry.
that dog out. Uh, don't forget
I'm
this
so
link
good.
that I sent you is the link that I always use. You are now more than welcome to come hang out in the Weed Nerd world anytime you see
Mhm.
fit. So please keep that in mind. You're always welcome. And again, thanks for your time. I've had a fun night getting to know you.
Take care. You take care of yourself, really.
You too, and thanks again. For the
Bye.
rest of you guys, as she said, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your time. Most importantly, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. And with that being said, we are out of here.